pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is reorganization.
I make a motion that we leave it as it was last year.
With the exception of Sarah,
Right.
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 and I second it.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Stay the same. Drainage boards. Start last guy. I'd like to stay on that one myself. Merlin, you still,
Please.
that's right with you guys?
Yep.
Okay. I think we have to have two on that one, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Start Marshall.
I'd like to continue sitting on that. Yeah, I'm on that one too. I'm okay for that.
Right, okay. Three County. Who was on that one before? When?
Actually, I don't have that on my list and I don't have minutes for that, so I was a little confused by the
I
three
didn't
county.
have, I don't have
board.
my folder with me, didn't know who was on that one either. Okay.
Ed Journess,
I was thinking Ed was, but that
that's what I
wasn't.
had listed from last
But I
year.
think there's just one on that one, isn't there?
Yeah, just one.
Okay, you got them listed there?
Yeah, and 4 counties, Ed
Yep.
and Monon's me. And
I'm okay so far, if you guys want to leave them that way.
the next one's yours, Greg.
Am I still on that one?
Yeah, that's what it says from.
We've never had a meeting on that. All the years I've been on it.
Really?
Mm-mm. I think it's somewhere over by Hart's Lake or something, those that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's-
Chapin Lore or whatever.
Hmm.
Next up is the 2025 Drainage Board Attorney Contract.
So, here's Autumn's, we'll just need a signature on that. She didn't change any fees or anything for this year. She's kept it the same as last year, so there's no changes at all. We'll need a motion.
Make a motion to approve Autumn as drainage board attorney.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
2025 Emergency Maintenance Contracts.
So this is, of course, what we do this every year. In case there's a flood, this is how the contractors can get reimbursed from FEMA. So, I have several contracts here. I sent them out probably the middle of November. I had a deadline to return them and this is who I've gotten them back from. So, just need signatures on these they'll go in front of each board. So we'll start with this board. And I just need to keep those on file for an emergency. That's something that started in 2018. Yes. Most of them are two-sided except for that one there. When they printed it off, they did it two separate pages.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So we need to sign each individual one then.
Yes, please.
Do we need a motion for that or?
No,
Guess I'm the only one signing it. Huh? You guys want to look at the?
and actually, now that I think about that, since that is a contract, we probably shouldn't.
You got a motion?
Yes, that's a good point. Thank you.
I'll make a motion then to approve the 2025 emergency maintenance contracts
Got
as
a
presented.
second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next thing up is drainage board dates for 2025.
So I have some tentative dates for each month. Obviously, we know that we don't have monthly meetings very often, but I put them on there. It's easier to cancel the meetings, I believe, than it is to schedule them. So this is a tentative schedule. I printed one off for each one of you guys, and this is what we're gonna go by unless it's on a holiday or this, that. It's pretty self-explanatory with the dates. So that's just for you guys' records. Oh, thanks.
Okay, I got more answers than I need.
Yeah, that's.
Moving on. So the November 15th, 2024 meeting.
Right. I believe you should have gotten those in an email to review before today, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from November 15th. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, claims.
We didn't have any claims actually to present at this meeting, so we can go ahead and go past that.
All right.
Let me get it, Todd.
Our next item up is Todd Lawrence asking for a variance in the Prettyman ditch. believe he's wanting to put a pump in.
Yes, and he made a copy for each one of you. We'll get him on speakerphone here just shortly. He's out of town. Hi Todd, hi. I'm gonna go ahead and put you on speakerphone for the board. All right. Okay. I don't know.
Okay,
Morning, Todd.
yeah, I would just, if you're ready for me, I guess, I'll let, explain what we're wanting to do. From the Klein Arm clear up to 100 West, we got 2.5 miles there along the Prettyman that affects us. I would love to put a pump in down on the Klein Arm because when it backs up, it backs up, clear to, past east of 39, but unfortunately we can't because in high water times we're getting DNR water in the Prettyman also. So we basically in high water times I don't really have any drainage. And that will be on the west side again of 39. So what I was going to do is and at a total cost to us, I'm not asking any money, all I'm seeking is permission. On the east side of 39, maybe 100 foot back from the Prettyman, is to block that off, the Prettyman. I would put a 36-inch flow-through culvert in there with a gate, a screw gate. And then in high water times, it's not so much that we get so much water from the east, as what we do is get backup water or flood water from the west. And then when Yellow River is high, we get all that seepage there, and there's no place for the water to go. So what I was wanting to do is just put a 36-inch flow-through culvert in and a 24-inch pump, and we'd only have to run the pump, at high water times. But that we would take care of the expense of all that. We've already been through there. We cleaned the east half of the Prettyman up to almost 100. We thoroughly formed the buildings there. We cleaned all that out. We had 2 big beaver dams in there. We cleaned all that out, cleaned the tree, and dipped the ditch. And so we kind of, because it affects us so much, we just have to take care of it. And so what I would like to do is just put a 24-inch pump in there, and in a high water time that allows us to be able to pump and not have all that, and we cut the water off from the west so we don't have all that flooding out there. So
Okay,
that's what I feel like, yeah.
all right. Maybe discussion.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with it.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Todd.
Okay, I appreciate it very much, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Goodbye.
All right, next item, next era drainage plans.
We're back from the last meeting. I know that I tried to follow up with a few of you. So we're still here. We feel as if our drainage reports meet the requirements for approval to show that drainage improves as a result of the project. Our reports and everything that we've provided within there. So what we're asking for today is approval.
Discussion.
Charlie, was there anything that happened at the commissioners meeting last night that we need to be aware of before they?
We placed a moratorium on projects that aren't permitted yet.
The permit's already been filed, so it's a vested right at this point, so the project's already in the pipeline. The moratorium could not be applicable to a permit that's already pending.
So I want to make a recommendation to the board though. So I went to newly elected officials training recently, and one of the things that they stated down there at class was do that, and it's very common, of course, most counties don't have a licensed engineer or a licensed surveyor on staff anymore. So due to that fact, they recommend that the board choose a engineering company to submit the drawings, all the plans and everything to review. That would then be paid for by the company that's here. And then they would be the ones to sign off on that drawing, since none of us are, I mean, all of you have looked, can't make heads or tails out of anything. Autumn's looked, our drainage board attorney. And so that was the recommendation that I was given when I went to newly elected officials training downstate. Was that to have a licensed engineer, like I said, that we choose, they pay for it, and then they would be the deciding factor of everything, if it's there, correct, that type of thing. That's just what I was told recently, so I thought I'd make you aware. Obviously, the decision is up to the board.
We're not aware of any ordinance requirements for that, but we do have a third party engineer that the county has already engaged and reviewed the plans that were submitted. And he provided very minimal comments on that, and then those were pretty much immediately addressed. Most of them were administrative, ministerial in nature.
Okay.
Those were addressed, and to our knowledge, he's approved that, and we have multiple emails saying that he's ready to roll.
Okay.
I guess my thing is, I just think it's kind of vague. I'd like to see a better detail of what culverts we're putting in, where we're putting them in, things like that. I mean, just to throw this book at us, I mean, yeah, I looked it over and stuff, but I don't fully understand exactly what your plans are. I know one, you said, oh, there's just gonna be a couple culverts in there. Well, when I was looking through that book, there was a list of several culverts, different sizes, different things. That I guess I'd like a little more clarification on where they're going, locations and things like that, to know what we're doing here.
This is only for preliminary approval. There'll be other things that as the process unfolds, so we have multiple steps that come after this. So once those processes unfold, then anything that has to be for borings and that sort of thing would have to come back for official approval for those specific items. It's just a preliminary approval.
Any culvert installations do have to be coordinated, and I have environmental experts here, but they have to be coordinated through IDEM as well as the county too later on. Like, I know that. This process has been going on. I know that it's a very nuanced process. But what we've provided is what we feel is sufficient for the preliminary drainage board approval. It shows the drainage improves. Any additional, like right now, there's no borings required or through regulated ditches. If that changes later on, as I said in the last meeting, somebody would have to come before this board, just like a variance, just like was done on the phone with Mr. Lawrence. Our company would have to follow the same suit.
And no culverted crossings within regulated drains.
Yes.
And what?
There are no culverted crossings proposed within county regulated drains.
So I have a
And
question.
that's
You
all
said
the
the,
details.
you said the permit process has already been approved. Is that what you said?
No, we're very much underway.
Oh, okay, I see.
We've submitted a complete permit.
It was submitted in September.
So really, that would follow under the moratorium from last night, since the permit hasn't been established.
No,
No,
It's not
that's
approved.
right,
Right.
because when the permit was filed, it's a vested right, because you can't change the rules midway through the process.
But you
That's
don't
if
have,
everything was complete though,
Right, it wasn't approved then.
right?
right,
Not half-ass.
Our requests that this board approve it, and the moratorium is in place and is applicable to the projects. That's a big question of if we disagree that it is, then whatever this board decided would be superseded by that anyways. So we'd rather just take the action today, because we're here in November. We'll take the action today, and then we can have that conversation about the moratorium and its applicability with county council, which we've had that conversation previously. But in light of last night's developments, we'll circle back on that same conversation.
mm-hmm.
But if they've made a ruling that if it's not approved yet, then I don't see how we can move forward with it.
I mean, you still don't have a good, understanding of it, and I don't know if you do, Merlin, or. I think there's just,
Numerous outreaches have been made to everybody.
okay, that's fine,
Getting
but
questions, answering
Um,
questions, nobody responded to them.
it's like Hoosier, they kind of simplified it and. Everybody understood it. Now you're just throwing a bunch of stuff at us and.
We made a formal presentation at the last meeting of about 10 slides that was presented to all of you of a summary of all of this before you. So, and then I know that that's on YouTube as well as in the meeting notes.
Okay. That's fine.
And then that preface, the introduction and the first 30 pages of that report, that is a summary. All of that is additional details.
Did she get,
She has a jury trial, so she's not able to be here today.
I know, but did she get to look at any of that?
We did not communicate about that. She forwarded emails to me from the company
Mhm.
to make sure that everyone was on the same page,
Okay.
but we did not have any discussion.
I do know she accessed the plans.
Okay, right,
There's a log that she accessed now. How much she dug into that, I cannot attest
right,
to it.
yeah.
I guess I'd like to know more with the moratorium, how we sit with legally as far as.
Mhm. I mean, we can either table this or deny it or whatever, I mean. Time being,
How long is the moratorium supposed to be for?
can't remember what Mike said.
I honestly I don't know. I was there, but I don't know.
You know, if there's an approval for it, the moratorium would be applicable, but it would supersede.
I mean, did you get to look at, understand it any or?
Yeah. So we approve this. Just preliminary, correct? Then if you need to cross or somewhere else, you're gonna come back again.
Just like what's been done on the previous projects that we've worked with this county on, any individual boring crossing,
Yeah.
anything like that. 'Cause-
Which I wasn't on the board when you did
Yeah,
the last
I mean,
one, so.
just-
I just know the last one, we did it all at once, you know what I mean? It's just. I don't know, I guess I had the question of. You have. When you build a house, you don't start building if you only have. Part of the plans done, you have, all of them done. But I'm no engineer either, so.
But
You
you
know what I
can't
mean?
build a house until you finally get the building permit, right? You
Yeah.
don't start laying the foundation before you get the. approval.
But you know exactly what all you're doing. Before you get your building. Correct? Like where it's good, what I'm saying is before you get your building permit, they wanna know where everything's at. And where everything's going to be.
Yep, and that's what we submitted.
You know what I mean?
So the
Yeah.
ordinance of the county for solar is preliminary site plan specifications and drainage board approval based upon that.
That's,
There's also
okay.
the as-built requirements of that. It says any changes or deviations within that permit, you have to provide those. And this is why. This is
Yeah,
where
I
it's
see what you're
at.
saying, yeah.
So
Then that's
Just
kind of
like-
on us as a
I mean, this
county.
is the exact same way other projects have gone. if, like, as Kurt was saying earlier, as of right now, there's no borings under regulated drains. There's no culverts in this regulated drains. If that were to change, just like was done with that gentleman this morning, we would come back before this board or somebody that represented both of us, provide those exact details, say, this is what we're boring, this is how it impacts the drainage, if at all, and we're asking for a variance. But that's not what we're asking for today. What we're asking for is approval of our drainage report and our drainage plans based upon what was submitted, based upon what is required for the solar ordinance that we submitted our complete application.
You can go to that ordinance under H14, something that's discussed. That talks about having to contact the before construction starts for the final rates.
Any additional? No.
Or the motion? Anything, one way or another?
From here,
I don't know.
if we don't have any motions, what happens here? What would you guys like to see that would? What are you looking for? Are you looking for some input from Autumn? I mean, what do we need to kind of?
Well, I mean, we haven't really heard nothing from her, that's. To be honest,
Sure, I guess if she was here, then we could.
Yeah, we made multiple outreaches to all of them, just again, further facilitate any questions, any must. Have to do it, I mean, I can't, that's the way. Couldn't make it today, something she had a conflict, but
Yeah,
yes, she would be able to be here, this way I rescheduled to a time when she could have been here if you guys were. Then you need to talk to her, plan with them, maybe talk to her before we got here.
do we need to have the drainage board attorney talk to Justin Schramm, the county attorney then, and see what transpired last night and go from there? What?
that'd probably be one good direction, and then, I mean, I'd like her input on this. I mean, if there's anything on the legal side that she needs to advise us of.
Yeah.
She didn't say nothing to you. about it.
No, she hasn't. I talked to her through email shortly, but I've only been in since
Right, that's
a
true.
very short time, so.
Right, right.
I know that, like I said, from our point of view, we provided what's required. And I know that she's had the plans as well as everyone has had the plans at a minimum since November.
Is that what's required on your end?
What do you mean, sir?
What you're saying you presented as required?
Yeah, but well, for the Starke County drainage requirements of showing that this project does not have drainage. That's the conclusion of that stormwater report that was submitted.
as for preliminary site. So he's got a direction before you go to the next phase and go through and do this.
So I guess, I mean, if we approve this and then, let's say. 4 or 5 months from now, you come back and say, well, we want to do this with this culvert or whatever, and we say, well, no, you can't do that, well, then. Then where do you go? Because you have no. I mean, that's where if you had some of this stuff up front. You know. You would be approved of all that stuff.
No, but these risks, I mean, you have to engineer around that and avoid that ask for. Then ask for permission.
I won't pretend to be a drainage expert, but I'm assuming you guys would have a good reason of why you wouldn't allow a culvert somewhere, and it would have to impede drainage or something like that.
Well, that's right, yeah, I mean, we would definitely have to review it and.
We're pretty much, we're trying to work with y'all here. I just want to be as transparent as possible. Like I know where things are at. I know I've reached out to everybody and I continue to try to do so. Like I want that open line of communication here, and I feel like that's not happening. And so, like, from our point of view, we submitted this all back in September. We came to the November meeting. We provided, like I said, all these details, and I have not received any questions today.
Well, I mean, I read it, but I don't understand a lot of it, like I said, because there's stuff listed in there that. That I guess, like we said, we're not engineers and stuff like that to understand the drawings and all that stuff that are in it. You
And
know,
the county has, as far as through the planning commission, have retained a third-party engineer, just like was done on previous projects. Bob Aloy with Territorial Engineering, and he's reviewed all this. I don't know if he submitted his final report to the county yet. I imagine I wouldn't receive that before the county would.
that I don't know either.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I've heard anything. See, have you?
But we're asking for, like I said, is just approval based upon the ordinance requirements to move to the next step, regardless of. As Matt put it out, regardless of what the circumstances are surrounding yesterday and everything else.
You guys feel like as a board, do you guys want to talk to Bob Aloy in more detail and have him sit down and explain everything? So you're making a well-educated decision? Do we need to sit down and look at the solar ordinance in more detail on as a board, what the responsibilities are and what the requirements are? I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to throw things out there to help.
Probably a good idea to have Bob explain some of it. He's looked at it. I just feel like there's a lot in question, really.
Try to communicate multiple times to get those questions in advance of showing up today, so. Give us a little bit thrown by the fact that we're now being said there are questions asked back and forth. Been addressed a long time ago.
I just don't feel it's very a positive thing to move this forward, just the feeling I'm getting here right now.
Mhm. We need to have a meeting with Bob and,
Yeah, I'm just Bob, if anything.
well, Bob, even Bob and, Autumn,
Yeah, Autumn, yeah, she needs to be there.
to discuss it,
Mhm.
to know what exactly we're getting into.
Mhm.
From a drainage perspective? Like, sorry, asking the question. You're feeling negative about it from a drainage perspective? Is that what we're here to discuss right now?
Yes, we're here, like I said, in the purview of the drainage board, not in the purview of the TAC committee or the planning commission. Those are all later steps subsequent, as the county has chosen subsequent to this one.
I'd say we just table it, I'll make a motion, we table it till March 4th.
March 4th or February 4th.
March. It gives us. So we meet with Bob and
It seems like an exceptionally long time. Is there a avenue for special meeting if that conversation can happen much sooner?
that's we could set a special meeting. So we'll have to get with Bob and stuff, see when he's got
Yeah, I'm not
time.
saying you guys are necessarily get with it tomorrow.
Right.
Just, you know,
We could
going
set-
into
we could set-
November and trying to get that ball going soon.
We could set a special session, so.
Motion's been made. Have a second.
Do you have any questions for all of us while we're here?
For me personally, I mean, I know I'm not a member of the board here, but if Wildway were to meet with you guys and go over everything, and then your questions would stem from that, correct?
Mhm.
Is that where we're, because right now it's hard to have questions when none of us or you or can make heads or tails of the actual paperwork. So until you sit down with Bob and he goes over every single detail of what we have, then the questions would stem from that. Is that what we're
Yeah.
thinking here? I mean, I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth. I'm just trying to.
It's part of it that
Come
we
up
don't
with
have
one.
any crossings proposed, so it's not an easy, like, we want you to look at these 3 locations. It's like a drainage report, and the fact that right now there are not proposed culverted crossings.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the way it reads.
I don't think it's that, I just, I mean, if it's, why is there so much in, I mean, that's.
So what you're looking at is the first 30 pages of that is literally a summary. Everything else in there is data
That's like,
that shows exactly, because any engineering report, you have to provide the data, just like any.
cause see, we're not engineers, but, I mean, we don't know,
All it shows is average rainfall totals.
and that's all
C-values.
over the board, so.
there any questions that came about or any thoughts that you had on the 30 pages summary at the beginning? That we can answer while we're here? You reviewed the 30 pages at least.
It's actually.
Yeah, sorry.
I reviewed the drainage, what,
Do you have anything on that? Cause
I mean, that's why I said I reviewed the drainage stuff, but I just don't.
As-
Understand some of it that's in there and the way it's, again, it says about. At one spot it said about all these different culverts and stuff, but yeah, you guys were saying that there's nothing in there about to do anything with any culverts. So I guess why is that in there on the different sizing? Maybe I'm reading it wrong. See, that's the thing. I don't understand maybe what I'm reading then. When it says that.
Yeah, those are,
It says about different locations and I don't see anywhere where it says exactly where these locations are at. It's.
Well, we presented the site plans and like I said, I mean, I understand. That it seems to me, from my point of view, that we're getting our procedure here a little. Like all of the technical details of the site design and all that stuff, that's reviewed by the TAC committee, right? Same with the
Who's
planning
TAC
commission.
committee?
well, it's through the planning commission.
Oh, that's.
And so what we're here for today is the drainage. And we presented a report. We presented all the drawings, we presented all the details, all this extra stuff, vegetation management plan and all that is supporting documents to that drainage report that shows that the runoff rate and drainage significantly improves as a result of this project from the transition from that row crop to a perennial plant. And so that's what we're asking for is Yeah, page 8 of that initial report, sir.
Did that motion die for lack of a second?
Well, so far it hasn't been seconded, but
So on page 8, you'll look at the 2-year runoff, 10-year runoff, 25-year runoff, 100-year runoff, all of which improve significantly.
Meaning decrease.
Yes. And then you also look at the conclusion, which says the site was designed to meet the water quantity requirements of Starke County, Indiana, and the state of Indiana. And then everything else in here, like exhibits and all that stuff, is just supporting documentation to show you that this is how this was reached.
I get, this is the, on page 10. It says entrance culvert summary, and it's got all these locations and all these culverts and stuff listed. Now, what does all that mean? Is that, I mean, you guys are saying there's no culverts involved here, then why is all this in here?
There are culverts involved. There's no culverts crossing county regulated ditches, was the state.
So they're all in private.
So these are all in private ditches, you're saying, is what?
I don't know all of them, and like, which of you is engineering side, but some of them might be private ditches, some of them might be swales, some of them might be, so not necessarily ditches, is I guess my.
But once again, that goes back to my point that just like anything else, if we like, if all of a sudden we need to cross a county regulated ditch or we need to put a culvert in it, that would have to come back before this board.
So I know I'm not obviously a voting member of this board, but I just want you guys to make well-informed decisions, obviously. So if you guys don't feel comfortable with something and can't ask the questions, then let's set up a meeting as soon as possible with whoever we need to set it up with, whether it's Bob and Autumn or Justin or whoever, so everyone can be on the same page. That's just my recommendation. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do or anything. I just want everyone to be comfortable and educated with the decisions that they're being faced with.
Good. That was, well, we got more from up there. That was our page 8. And it's- It looks to me like if Bob had this report or whatever, he would have said something to the first. To the drainage board, wouldn't he? Or not necessarily.
I'm gonna present, if you guys are okay with the summaries that we provided last time as well. I don't know if I have 6 copies again, but I do have them left over from the last time we presented.
I do remember the.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how close the previous surveyors worked with the engineers in these projects.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm not being able to do this, but
Uh-huh.
I call out.
That's.
Give And I know Chris has had pretty frequent conversations with them and emails and things like that.
Right.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Hey, FYI.
Yes, sir.
So, I think he's fully aware of the situation. I think he's probably finding fairly quickly, assuming he's available. He said, yeah, I looked at it and I didn't have any concerns, or my concerns were assuaged by X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. Just one thought.
Right, yeah, no,
Trying to advance the ball here as much as we can.
Right,
Avoid
I
everybody having
understand.
to come back to the table if we don't have to.
and as far as the crossing locations that you asked for, sir, those have all been provided in the plans. This right here shows where they're at, they're in there. And all of that has been sitting in the county. Those are just the details.
Yeah, see, then,
I didn't want to print you out 60 pages, like small 8.5 by 11 site designs.
well, I mean, I guess I looked in the online, the stuff that we got, and I didn't see a map that actually designated this stuff here,
It'll
so.
be in all the same details. Site rate that were done by an overall max extent site layout. And then each individual page is a zoomed in portion of the proposed infrastructure on that little area of numbers like 25 or 38.
Okay.
After dialogue, that's helpful.
I received Bob's preliminary drainage report review on 11/24. And under section G, drainage and erosion control, he has some green letters, appears to be working requirements.
Any other discussion? Still a motion on the floor. Here it is. For discussion. Have a second to the motion.
I didn't catch that.
I just made the motion to table it till March 4th,
Okay, same I from before.
right?
Okay. And then,
To, unless we come up with get a special session in between.
Mhm.
If we actually have Bob physically here to explain it. Just so we know.
and then March 4th be that special session.
Before,
You went before,
yeah,
when it was thrown out, having the two attorneys and Bob
mhm,
in that session.
mhm,
I
Mhm.
think that's a great idea. Because legally, that's not my area at all.
Right,
And so like Bob's already preliminarily said, yeah, it's
Mhm.
fine, but it'd be nice to understand
mhm,
what that means as far as meeting ordinances.
right,
Because
and he should be able to explain
he
it.
should be able to explain it to the engineer. Had a long enough motion.
Yeah, got a motion. Second,
I'll second.
Confirmation with those, just so we know, with those validations, conversations actually have to happen at the official session, or could you, I mean, in theory, could you guys have consultations with him at different times, and then
I think we'd rather do it all in a group.
Yeah,
I just didn't know from a collaborating schedule standpoint how quickly that could come together, but again, we're trying to avoid going out to March, we're already here in November, and then you guys want a meeting every other month, kind of just throw the calendar a whack, so.
yeah, we'll have to get with Bob and see when he can meet with us. And then make sure Autumn's here.
And
Justin.
Justin, everybody. So motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we'll get with Bob
yes.
and
And
Justin
Justin
and
and
Autumn
Mhm.
and everybody get together, have a meeting,
Correct.
and then. If we can do it before, well, yeah, because we're meeting in February, if we're gonna have it done by then, we've tried to, I guess. Well, you had said by March, right, that's what you'd said, so. In the motion anyway. Down to old business. Key tile update,
Okay, so I had actually reached out to you at one time to ask for the extension for Allsop. Cause at the time it was, under the jurisdiction of the Stark regular, but then it changed boards. So, just wanted to let you guys know, since you're the original ones that approved it, that there was an extension granted until May 1st. By the Stark Pulaski board. So,
We had under the wrong board originally.
no, it switched.
it switched in
Switch
August or something like that, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah,
Oh, that one. Yeah, that's when those ditches went to that.
correct.
Okay.
Mhm. What, you say May 1st, was that right?
Yes, May 1st.
May 1st. Howard ditch,
So I just briefly went out and checked the Howard, the Z-Doc and the Rummel. And none of them have been started, which is fine. I just wanted to go out and kind of touch base, see what was going on. They're not even due to be complete until March 31st. But at this time, no work has been started. Just a quick update for you guys about that. So. That's all I've got for those 3 ditches. 3 ditches.
oh, that's all, okay, that's all. those.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other old business? And one thing I do have, on Highway 10, they changed that culvert, between, 50 east and 100 east. And in the engineering, somehow it got put quite a bit deeper than what they originally thought it was going to be. So actually, the culvert is deeper than the ditch on the north side, so we're holding back water. I'd like you guys, if nothing else, to try to look at it and see. But I feel if we can, we need to try to dip that out to get it down lower to that bottom of the culvert, because it's like there's a, and then when the state did it, and why they put stone, big huge stone, and it rolled down into the bottom of the ditch, and so it's like a dam
Yeah.
almost across that.
You said between 50 and 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they redid that here last summer.
Oh.
And I talked to the one guy in charge of it or whatever, and he goes, I don't know what went on, but he said, the engineer, he said, when we're done, this thing's gonna be like over 2 foot below the ditch on the north side. And I'm like, well, that's good for the drainage part, but now we gotta see if we can get the ditch dipped out to actually take benefit of that.
Without redigging the ditch, because then it's just gonna slough in.
Yeah, I don't think I think there's quite a bit of fall from the highway going north that I think we could get, as long as there's no, and when they did it before, there might have been some NIPSCO stuff in there, but I'm not sure. That we're not too close to that stuff. I guess that's the one concern. So I don't know if that's something that, if we need to make a motion on that, or if that is a continuance of before deal, or what we do on that. Because I know I mentioned it to Thomas before, and I don't know if he brought it up, because the meeting that I told him about, I wasn't here, I was sick. I
Okay.
didn't make it to that meeting.
So let me look in the minutes from previous, is that what you'd like me to do, and see if anything was decided on it?
That might have been the October meeting,
Was it?
might have been the October meeting, I don't remember which one. Before the November meeting, I know that, but.
Okay,
But yeah, because I mentioned to him, I think he even looked at it, said he was gonna look at it.
all right.
Um,
I'm not aware of that, but I am more than happy to go out there and check it out. If anybody wants to meet me out there too, or anything to go over it. Definitely can do that. So,
any other old business? New business,
we have Heritage Drone Service here. I don't know if this board, I can't remember if this board's talked to him in the past, but hoping to get a good open communication and working with him. We really need to get some ditches sprayed and under control. I think we need to get a good spray program established and get the ditches flowing like they need to. So one thing, I look forward to working with him and hearing what he has to offer. So if you want to say anything to the board, it's open.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members, I appreciate being here today. I was at the last meeting, I spoke with several of the members. We're a small veteran-owned business operating in Porter County. We do a ton of work in Starke County, Porter County, we're all over. So we do a lot of, probably 70% agricultural and then 30% government. So DNR, US Fish and Wildlife, US Forestry, USAID, Army Corps of Engineers. So we're kind of all over the place right now. Just probably about October, I made a connection with the former surveyor, and he said that some of the ditches had went unbid on spraying, and hey, this could be a great way, because we could be very economically reasonable compared to traditional methods. When he told me they were $3,000 or $4,000 a mile to treat the ditch, and they weren't treating ditch banks, and were significantly cheaper than that with a lot better control. So hopefully we, if some ditches come available for spraying, I'd certainly like to bid on them if I can get on a contractor's list. And then also we do seeding too. So with LaPorte County, I'm bidding on some of their projects too. They broke it down to where they're having a contractor go rip out all the trees and stumps and stuff like that. And then I'm gonna bid on coming back and seeding the ditch, because again, we can be extremely fast and cost effective. So ultimately for the taxpayers. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
any questions?
No.
You have something?
Just explain a little bit what your process is, what kind of herbicides you're using, because it's the different ones.
that you use for the curly leaf versus sides?
Yeah, so if we're spraying the ditch, we're using aquatic approved chemicals, so we're using like a aquatic approved 2,4-D. So I use it's a Corn Belt product, 6 pound 2,4-D, so it's approved for ditch bank use. It works really well, and that way we don't harm the grasses in the ditch because we don't want to kill the entire ditch. We don't want it collapsing. We want to keep it together. And then you know, kind of Phragmites are invasive and they can take over a ditch. So then glyphosate is what kills those. So then we'll kind of spot spray the areas that have Phragmites. Sometimes the Phragmites will take over a half mile of the ditch, and then we have to kill everything in there because nothing kills Phragmites other than glyphosate. And then some of the more established perennials, you know, we use crossbow or other herbicides that will control those more established perennials. And now it's great for big wide open ditches. When there's a ditch a mile or half mile or whatever it is of trees, right? The drone can't fly through the trees. So then we also have a ground rig. It's a 2-axle side by side with a 100-gallon spray tank on the back. So hang a boom over the side around those trees, or we just have a 100-foot lawn. So that takes a lot longer, not quite as efficient as the drone, but we can hit those miles of ditches that have a lot of trees in them as well.
So typically we maintain on one side. Can you spray just for the one side with your drone?
Yeah, we can control swath width. So our swath width is controlled by our elevation and our speed. So, you know, we can slow things down to make our swath width 10 foot wide or make it 30 foot wide as far as 30.
So we shouldn't have ditches that are growing up on both sides if we're doing a good job. I just, want to make sure that, you're.
Yeah, if you want one side of the ditch spray, we can spray one side of the ditch. If you want both sides spray with whichever, however you want it.
Okay. Helps me.
What roughly does it cost?
So we're about $350 a mile with chemical. So we're pretty reasonable. And we could hit about 20 miles a day. I can go about a mile out each way. So I'll park right in the middle of 2 miles, go 1 mile one way, come back 1 mile the next way and come back. And you're getting about, the rate's about 5 gallons an acre. So based on our swath width. So on 2 miles, we'll put down, I think we're about 20 gallons over 2 miles, and we've had really good results with it. What's unique about the drone is what makes it with using a lot less water. Like for our fungicide application, we're doing 2 gallons an acre. The nozzles on the drone push the product down deep into the canopy because they're rotary style nozzles. They're not like a T-jet, so we get really good canopy penetration. With a lot of these ditches that have a lot of those established broadleaves, the drones push it down into there, and it'll get a pretty good control.
What drone are you using?
The DJI P50.
Okay.
There's just the best drone that's out there right now. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
any other new business?
I have this that I came across. I don't know if this is gonna be valid or how it's gonna work, but it was a contract that I found that, the previous surveyor had signed with, Tiemann's Nagy Surveying and Engineering. And I know that there was, we had a limit of what we could spend without board approval. And this is for, section corners, but I just didn't know if that was something that you guys wanted to review and take a look at some point. I mean, I just thought I'd make that aware. It doesn't need any kind of, motion or anything made, but I'm welcome. I can make copies and send it to you guys as well. Well, it's actually a pretty,
$3,900.
yeah, it was 3,900. For a couple of section corners, I believe, in Davis Township.
2,000 or 3,000?
I believe it was 2,000.
2,000?
I thought it was 2.
So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
How does we?
That would be an autumn question, I believe. We need to bring it to her attention.
I think it's assigned to a certain ditch. Is that what that is, or how does that work?
It's actually assigned for section corners in the area of Davis Township, I believe is what it is. So,
How's that come to drainage? Sorry,
well, I just wanted to make you aware since it was a contract.
right?
So that was the only thing. I'm gonna talk to Autumn about it, but I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you.
And that's all I've got.
Any other new business? did have a question I was gonna ask, because I talked to Thomas about another ditch that I thought needed some maintenance. And it's on 500 south on the north side of the road, and it's by 300 east. I thought he said there's two names there, because the one goes south and then the one goes east and west. It was Rosca and something else, I believe.
Okay,
And he was gonna take a look at it. And I don't know where, never heard nothing on that, if he got anywhere on it or what.
Okay.
500 south of 300,
yeah.
Yeah,
300.
right by me, and
Not too far from you, yeah. Yeah,
this has been both sides.
yeah, it starts actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it starts like at 350 and it runs along, it runs west. I think it goes into the Big Eastern eventually. And I think it's a petition ditch. I don't know how much funds is there, but there's nothing been done to it. It's got a lot of growth. And then I think it does go south. There's another ditch that ties into it, goes south along 300 there.
Okay. I can look in his files. I'm still kind of going through things and other things of course are coming up, so I will look into that and get back with you.
Okay. 'Cause I know I showed him that day, we talked about it and I showed him and he goes, I'll take a look at it and, stuff. So,
Okay,
'cause we wrote up on the map in his truck, see where it was at exactly.
all right.
Any other, roads that we on that,
I definitely asked Autumn about that.
Okay,
I guess I didn't think that. When was it supposed to be good through?
October 21st is when we did it, but
For a year, I wonder,
date on the terms and conditions. I don't see a thing
no,
on the next page.
there's some. I guess what he's just wanting them to mark this, is that what that is?
I believe to replace section corners.
To replace it?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's over his, well, that was over his amount that he could spend.
Right,
Yeah.
right, without approval, yeah.
But who actually approved that? Because we wouldn't approve it, correct?
No, you
I'd
don't.
say,
I just- yeah, you guys don't approve it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention because I'm gonna talk to Autumn about it since it was a contract. Was the only reason that I was bringing it to your attention, and then it was over the dollar amount, so,
Right, we wouldn't even have no authority over it anymore.
right.
Anything else?
To adjourn? I'll say.
You've adjourned. I got one piece there.
1700.